This is a video I'm making about how to overcome a broken heart. Now, I'm sure that in your life there's been times when you're with somebody and you broke up or they left you or something happened and you just were no longer friends. And you thought about the person all the time and you really pined for that person. You wanted that person back and they just wouldn't talk to you. There's just no getting back with this person. Well, a lot of times you have to understand that when a person leaves you and relationship is over, you really were in love with a fantasy. The real person who you thought you were with never really existed, which meant that they really weren't that kind, they weren't that thoughtful, they weren't that attractive. Something about that person really wasn't real. And either they figured it out or you figured it out or something happened and it just didn't work out. Now, I once knew a guy and he was in love with this girl and she was apparently really pretty and nice and everything to him, but she wouldn't commit to him. And he asked her to, kind of be more serious with him, and she said, "No, I want to just, be with other guys, and I just don't want to be with you." So she wouldn't talk to him, and she left. So when I met him, he told me about this girl, and he was really heartbroken. She won't return my phone calls. She won't talk to me. Nothing. I write her letters. Nothing. And so what we did was we did an exercise that I'm going to suggest to you. Okay. First of all, I had him tell me about the girl, the good things about her and the bad things about her. And for example, um, she was pretty and she had nice hair and she had a nice singing voice and she came from a nice family, things like that. Bad things about her. She smoked cigarettes. She liked to swear. She liked to drink. She liked to do drugs sometimes. She wouldn't call him back for a long period of time. She wouldn't commit to him. Things like that. And so what we did was we sat down and we basically broke down the person's attributes to see if she qualified to be someone who you really want to be with. And so, taking the bad parts, I said, "Do you want to be with somebody who smokes?" And he said, "No, not really." "You want to be with somebody who can't control their drinking?" "No." "You want to be with somebody who won't return your phone calls?" "No." "You want to be with somebody who won't commit to you?" "No." So we went through all these things one by one, and we realized that this wasn't the person we needed to be with. Okay, but that wasn't on an emotional level. That was on an intellectual level. Okay, so then what we did next was, knowing about her personality, I pretended I was her. I said to him, "I'm going to talk to you as if I'm her, and you talk to me as if I'm her, and I will just respond based on what you told me." And so we went for about maybe an hour just talking. He said things like, "Why don't you return my phone calls?" And I said things like, "Because I don't want to be with you. You're fun to be with, but it's not serious with me. I want to be with other guys, so that's why I'm not. You're showing me too much commitment, and I don't want this commitment. I want to be with other people. I just want to have fun, and you make it too serious." And we went on for like an hour just talking like this here, and we had one rule: he could yell, he could scream, but he wasn't allowed to touch me. I didn't want him to think I was really her. Okay, but we really went through this here, and by the end of it, he was totally over her. And I had seen the guy again like a week later, and I said, "How you feel about her?" He said, "I'm thinking about her." And I saw him a month later. Anytime I saw him, he was totally over it. So I'm just giving this to you as an example of what you can do. If there's someone who you have in your heart who is not coming back and you can't get over that person, first of all, sit down and write out a paper. Basically, use what's called the Ben Franklin uh, list. It's like you draw a line, and on top and you put the good and the bad, and you list both. And then you ask yourself, if it outweighs, and it really should, the bad should outweigh because the person's not coming back. But if you look at the list and you say to yourself, what was real and what was a fantasy? Because if you look at someone and they're pretty, you might think, okay, she's pretty, so therefore she's kind and she's thoughtful and she's a good cook and she'd be a good mother and she'd be good in bed, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's just all fantasy. What's reality? She really wasn't a good person. She didn't have a good personality, and I idolized her and idealized her because of how she looked. So therefore, I really did myself a service by not being with her because it wouldn't have worked out in the long run. And then you find someone who you can talk to about this person, again, telling all these qualities and all the deficits of quality about the person, and then have the person talk to you as if they were that person, and you respond in the same way. So you say something like, I want to be with you, why don't you want to be with me? And the person would say, because I don't love you. Obviously, if I loved you, I would return your phone calls, or I would want to be with you, or I wouldn't date other guys, or I wouldn't call you names, I wouldn't put you down. Whatever the situation, it's really a good exercise. And you go through this as long as you have to, and you play the role of the person for them, or they do it for you, and it really works. If you really are sincere about looking at the core of the person. I've done this several times with people, and it always works. It's a great technique. So it's just a role playing, but it's a analyzation of the person. You analyze the person, and then you go for it. All right. So hope that works for you, and have a great day. Thank you.